Very good. Thank you, Kristen, for your introduction, and thank you for your participation. My good friend Daniel asked me to speak about the Four Noble Truths found in the Buddha's teaching, so that is my focus. So I hope to spend about 35 minutes speaking, and then you will have time to around 30 minutes speaking, and then you have time to ask questions. So the Noble Truths you should have heard about before. It is one of the main teachings in the Buddha's teaching. How many of you are familiar with this teaching, the Four Noble Truths? Have you heard about? Okay, very good. So you are familiar with that. In Pali, the Buddha's language is called Pali. This 2,500-year-old language. In Pali, that is called, in Pali language, that's called Dukkha Satcha, Samudaya Satcha, Nirodha Satcha, and Magga Satcha. You know, these words are very interesting, Satcha and truth. So these languages, Pali, Sanskrit, English, they all belong to the same language family, which is called Indo-European language. So these languages are very much similar. The dukkha, actually the English derivation is dukkha is sick. You're getting sick. Dukkha Satcha is the cause of all the problems, the first truth. Okay? Samudaya is the cause of that. Nirodha is the end of it. Magga is the path of it. These are considered the Four Noble Truths in the Buddha's teaching. But in the modern time, these words have been interpreted in a different way. They are different in their interpretations, but you have to rely on my own interpretation here, because I have been in this tradition for such a long period of time, and I have studied all these languages and the history and everything. So the Buddhist teaching is from my childhood. I have studied. So what I am going to tell you right now is what I know for sure. So these four truths, the Buddha said he did not invent. Rather, the Buddha discovered that. You know the difference between the discovery and invention. Any kind of invention depends on discovery. Discovery is what exists. The Buddha said in the Pali language, Upadava Tathagatanang, Anupadava Tathagatanang. I'm reading the Pali. Okay, so in this way, whether the Buddha was born or not, the truth exists in the world. What the Buddha did was that he discovered the truth that was hiding behind the people's eyes. So Buddha did not invent, but Buddha discovered. What he discovered are called these Four Noble Truths. The first one, dukkha. What is the most popular translation? How have you heard about this? What is your translation? What is your learning about dukkha satya? Suffering. Okay, so the basically suffering. But the word suffering does not convey the real meaning of this dukkha. Actually, in some sutras we have interpretations, and in the commentaries we have interpretations. This interpretation seems to be slightly different from what the Buddha actually meant by dukkha. Dukkha does not mean an individual's physical suffering. Dukkha means the internal suffering a person undergoes throughout his or her life. Rather, instead of pain, this is grief. This is something the Buddha discovered. Every human being has this insatiable state of mind. You are not happy with what you have. You know, the popular view among your age group, maybe among teenagers, is that eat, drink, and be happy. Enjoy life. What is the purpose of life? The purpose of life is to enjoy life. You know, that is one of the most harmful teachings the young people has got. Actually, the purpose of life is to make life meaningful to yourself and meaningful to others, not to enjoy. But basically, general people believe that life is to enjoy. So that they start gratifying their senses to the fullest. They start having all kinds of materialistic things. And they believe that that would make them happy. Until you want it, you want it. Once you get it, you don't want it. This is the insatiable state of the mind. That is what you call dukkha. That is not mere physical suffering. This internal suffering people experience all the time. Until you get it, you want it. Once you get it, you don't want it. The human mind is always throwing away what they have and grabbing something new. This is the nature of the human mind. That is what is meant by dukkha satcha. It's a kind of a suffering, of course, because it's internal struggle every individual goes through. You want to be, you need education, therefore you go to college. After that you want to get a job or career. Okay, then you want to get married. You want to have children. So when you get married, very soon you want to get a divorce. Again you want to get married. And you need this and this and this. Sensual gratification. Eye, ear, nose, mouth, body, the entire body. Gratification of these senses. The human being is essentially unhappy with himself or herself in the way they act and they live. That is what Buddha meant by the first noble truth, which is dukkha satcha. Now the second one, the cause of suffering. That kind of suffering, inner suffering. What causes this situation? Not only Buddha analyzed the problem, but the Buddha also offered a solution to the problem. So the Buddha identified what it is. Buddha gave the cause of it. The Buddha talked about the end of it. And also Buddha talked about how to end of it. So what is the cause of that? How did you learn it? I think Daniel is a very expert in this field. He should have taught you, right, the cause of that, right? What is the cause of that as you learn? craving. Okay. Yeah. The word craving. The word is called tanha, lobha, many words. Okay. Greed, desire, endless desire, continuous desire to gratify senses. That is the cause of it. That's called tanha. In other words, so we all have an insatiable desire to gratify our senses, and insatiable desire to possess all kind of materialistic things. That's what I call enjoyment of life, the so-called enjoyment, desire for enjoyment, gratification of senses. Eat all kinds of yummy, yummy food, you will be happy. That's the teaching. Watch movies, all kinds of movies, all night, you will be happy. Okay. Listen to music all the time. You know, I have students who come to the class fully wired. So I ask them to unwire themselves when they enter the classroom. Right. Listen to music and you can be happy. And the gratification of sensual desires. So the more dating partners you have, the happier you are. And that is the common belief. All these thoughts are motivated and driven by lobha, tanha, which is called craving. Actually, you know, these technical terms cannot be translated properly. That is why I use the original word tanha. Tanha, lobha, raga, you know, many words are in Pali. Now, you may ask me, what about my coming to school? I desire to get a degree, right? I want to better myself. I want to buy a house. I want to start a family. Is it the cause of desire? Is it the cause of problems? Is it craving? No, that is not. There is a difference between your desire to gratify your senses and the desire to possess materialistic things, and your effort and endeavor to realize your fullest potential. That is not craving. The Buddha himself did the same. You may be familiar with the Buddha's biography. He renounced the worldly life at the age of 29. He went from place to place, studied under many teachers. But he found that the methods his teachers taught him was not effective in achieving enlightenment. So, he practiced along by himself. You may have heard about the middle path, right? The Buddha followed the middle path, and with self-effort, he achieved enlightenment. Is it motivated by greed or craving? Of course not. If you are striving to realize your fullest potential with the noble thought and noble expectations, with right effort, you are not a greedy person. But you must keep in your mind that I am trying to realize my fullest potential. In psychology, it's called self-actualization. You could have it. You could have heard about it, self-actualization. I want to realize my fullest potential to make my life meaningful to myself and meaningful to others and meaningful to both parties. Once you have this noble philosophy, you are not craving for something, but you are striving to achieve something. And achievement is a source of happiness. So you earn a degree, bachelor's degree is an achievement. You get a higher degree, it's an achievement. It's going to be with you, it's a source of happiness. Buddha himself reflected on his own achievement, which is enlightenment. It's a source of happiness. But if you believe that consistently gratifying senses is a source of happiness, that is craving, then you are going to end up miserably. So that is the cause of suffering, so-called suffering. Okay, craving, desire, endless desire, insatiable state of mind. Now, the third noble truth, that's called Nirodha Satya. Okay. How did you learn it? Same thing, right? Yeah, cessation of that, right? Cessation of the end of that. The highest achievement in ending suffering is enlightenment. Enlightenment, the highest achievement. Enlightenment, the highest achievement. In other words, all desires are gone. Turn off these desires. You will be eternally happy. If desire causes unhappiness, end of it is the source of happiness. I believe that we all can practice this in our day-to-day life. You know, recently I have read a book called The High Price of Materialism. In this High Price of Materialism, the writer has researched on high school students. You know, these restless students, they asked, the questions that were asked, why do you go to college, school? Some students asked, because I want to make a lot of money. I want to get a good job. Because I want to buy this and that. These were the students who were extremely unhappy. These were the students who started problems in life. These were the students who failed to establish healthy relationships with others. They were the students who became drug addicts and alcoholics. They were the students who were the high school dropouts. Look at that restless mind. Failure to focus at present, skipping the present and concentrating on future with the thought of gratifying senses. Okay? So they are going to be unhappy. Now, if a student focuses on the realization of potential while studying, that is an achievement and that would make them happy. Okay? So in other words, what I gave this example, why I gave this example is to show you that you can practice this in your daily life and find out that the happiness is easy. You have iPhone, the latest, previous model of the iPhone, and now the new iPhone has arrived. You want to buy it. Okay. I want it. That will make me happy. Okay. Will it make you happy? No. Temporarily, right? For a short period of time, oh, I have it instantly. that dissipates. And eventually you want the other model. Comparison, compare and contrast, you do all the time these things. Okay? What I'm saying is that if you slow down this speed of chasing after pleasures, you can actually enjoy the so-called happiness right now. If you chase after speedily, you will almost always have that. We have had a lot of students who have got in trouble because of that. Okay. They are in debt. A lot of students, when they finish their degree, maybe 50,000, 60,000 in debt. They borrow money and they did not use in the right way. Instead, they use in a different ways to gratify senses, buy all kind of things, latest models. Right? It does not make them happy. Therefore, complete stopping of desire is the ultimate happiness. Also, by slowing down the chasing after pleasures, also can make you actually happy. That is called samudaya satya, the cause of suffering. Nirodha satya, nirodha satya, the cessation of suffering. Okay. Now, the last one is called magga satya. Magga is the path. Right? Okay. Now, what is the path? As I previously said, the Buddha analyzed the situation and offered a solution. This is the magga. This is the path. In other words, if you do this, you can avoid this. Okay. This cause and effect relationship is a very, very important teaching of Buddha's teaching. Asmin sati idang hoti. When this is, that is. Asmin asati idang nohoti. When this is gone, that is gone. Right. The cause and effect relationship is a very, very important teaching in Buddha's teaching. So that it is not a negative thing. Now, when you hear that it is suffering, so you're grabbing all kind of things, suffering, maybe you may feel miserable. Oh, this life is suffering? Buddha never said that life is suffering. That's the important point. The Buddha encouraged his late disciples to be successful, okay, to have good business, to have healthy relationships, interpersonal relationships, social relationships, and to live a happy life. Buddha never identified life as miserable. What the Buddha said was that if you follow this wrong path by grabbing all kind of things, okay, then life is going to be miserable. Okay, so you can change that trend by changing your attitudes, your behaviors, and your habits. Okay, now the path is, okay, what is the path? You could have heard it. Eightfold path, right? I am Aryo Attangiko Maggo. Arya. The Buddha says Arya Attanga Magga. Arya means noble. Interesting. Arya, area, right? Now you use the word area. Buddha used the word area. Arya means area. But now this word is used by these KKK groups in a different meaning, right? The Buddha said, person is an area, okay, one who practice wholesome actions, speak wholesome words, and develop wholesome thoughts is an Arya, right? Noble thoughts, noble words, noble actions. Okay, so this is called Arya Atta. Atta means 8. Atta Magga. Arya Atta Magga. Okay, the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay, so it's Arya means it is the way you live with your life. Okay, we have 8 in Pali called Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. Okay. Now, basically, I am not going to give you each of them in detail, but I want to talk to you in general what this Eightfold Path means. Okay. Eightfold Path in brief means the modification of your external behavior and the modification of your internal behavior, the twofold human behavior. Our words and our actions are the external behavior. What is internal behavior? Thoughts, thought process, thoughts, feelings, attitudes, emotional maturity, like that, particularly attitudes. Right attitude. Okay. So, all the 8 Noble Path shows the way to improve an individual externally as well as internally. For instance, Samma Vacha, right word. You speak the right word and do not say the wrong word. In the Buddha's teaching, we have 4 kinds of bad words, for instance. Number 1 is telling lies to take advantage. Okay. Number 2 is speaking the words that break relationships, the malicious words. Okay, you tell me something about somebody, I go behind and say, oh, that person said that, like that. So, that's words that break relationships. Buddha said, you must speak words that create integration, not separation. Okay. So, stay away from speaking malicious words. Next one is Parusa Vacha, these very harsh, rough words. We believe that, right? When we are angry, we shout at others. Okay? And we believe that we have solved the problem, but it makes the situation worse. The Buddha asked not to speak harsh, rough words on any occasion. But you can speak assertive words, you can say assertively, but not harsh, rough words. And the 4th one is called Sampapalapa, which means speaking meaningless words. You know, sometimes we continue to talk on and on and on for hours maybe. We talk about everything, but we have talked about nothing. So that is what you call useless and meaningless words. Right. Okay, now that is the modification of your verbal behavior. What is the modification of your physical behavior? Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva. That means physically, according to the Buddha's teaching, you are not supposed to do these kind of actions. Number 1, do not destroy life. Panati Pata. Now, this is slightly different. This is not only the human life. This is also the life of animals. In other words, love nature and love life. Am I running out of time? It's 1 o'clock, right? Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. What time is it right now? It's 1 o'clock, right? Okay. So we started, we have 10 more minutes. Okay. So that is destruction of life. two things that are common in our society, two practices, okay? Fishing and hunting as a source of enjoyment are not agreeable with the Buddha's teaching. Okay. So hunting as a source of enjoyment, okay, an animal is suffering. Okay, you applaud it and enjoy it. Yes, I did it. Okay, that is not acceptable. In the same way, the human being has rights to live. Other living beings also have the right to live. At the same time, humans and animals have the right to live. Even the plants have a right to live. Therefore, wanton destruction of nature is also not accepted. All these things are included in do not kill. Do not take what is not given. External modification of your actions. That means stealing, robbing, plagiarism, or if any students also plagiarize, right, that is also does not belong to you. And shoplifting, right, all these are, okay, unlawfully taking something. And next one is sexual misconduct. Sexual misconduct, I mean, if you are in a committed relationship and you are seeking other partners, that is sexual misconduct, according to Buddha's teaching. And rape and child abuse are huge sexual misconducts in Buddha's teaching. Seduction is a sexual misconduct. So these are broad topics. And finally, suramerya, that means taking alcohol, drugs, or anything that change your physical and mental well-being. Some people argue that Buddha asked you not to take any alcohol. Some people argue that Buddha did not ask you to take any alcohol, but the level of the alcohol that makes physical and mental disturbance, you stay away from that. This is an arguable topic, but basically is that unwholesome habits that affect your physical and mental well-being, right? Including smoking, drugs like that. Okay. These are the two practices, that verbal and physical. And finally, development of the mind, right? That is, okay, three points in the three items in the path are about mental development. This is what we popularly have heard as meditation. The word meditation is not the best translation. It is mental development, mental culture, inner development. The Buddha asserts that if we continue to develop our inside, the greed will be gone, desires will be gone, but the inside is not empty. The empty places will be filled with something else. What is that? Loving kindness and compassion. Ultimately, the highest development inside is loving kindness and compassion. You must feel love and admiration towards yourself. You must feel love and admiration to your family members, your neighbors. But it should go beyond, overall, to the world and the universe, to life in general. to humans, to animals, and to nature. That is why this is included in the Buddhist meditation. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. May my immediate family be well, happy, and peaceful. May my neighbors be well, happy, and peaceful. May unfriendly people be well, happy, and peaceful. That's very difficult, right? Practice. But if you cultivate, you find that no reasons to feel angry with others. You see it as it is, and you extend loving thoughts towards. May animals and all living beings, whether this human world or elsewhere, be well, happy, and peaceful. That is ultimate development. That is what the Buddha cultivated. Buddha desires were gone, but an enormous amount of loving kindness settled down in man's mind. Ever since Buddha attained enlightenment, he attained enlightenment at the age of 35, from 35 to 80, so 45 years. What did Buddha do? He went from place to place, from village to village, to enlighten people, to help people. So many people Buddha helped: children, women, socially discriminated people. During Buddha's society, there was a group of people called Shudra, the servants. Buddha helped them. Buddha said everybody is equal. Buddha ordained this. Buddha gave ordination to the so-called sutras or servants class and raised them to the highest level. All this could be done out of loving kindness and compassion, irrespective of all the differences. That is the ultimate achievement by through your inner mental development. That's called one path to that happiness, right? That is one practice. So, having said that, I am winding up my presentation. It's time for you to ask questions. I believe we have about 15 to 20 minutes. Go ahead.
Well, oh jeez, that's loud.
Yes, go ahead.
I practice Misconduct Buddhism. I was wondering if you had any distinct differences in what you practice and what we practice.
What do you practice?
Soka Gakkai International, Misconduct Buddhism.
I do not have very clear understanding of what the practices are, but basically what we practice in Theravada, actually I have this meditation center, two kinds of practices, you can hear, right? Yeah, two kinds of practices called insight meditation and loving kindness meditation. Insight meditation means we observe our thoughts and feelings. Whatever thought arises within, we are mindful about what is happening to us. That's what you call insight meditation. And we try to concentrate on one point. For instance, we concentrate on breathing. While breathing, we are mindful. We are trying to keep our attention undisturbed by all kinds of things, only single-pointed. For instance, nostrils, we practice. Concentrate on nostrils, and we concentrate on that. Our mind is only breathing, that is all. We are not aware of anything happening like that. So that is what you call the insight meditation. If something, also we practice about 4 kinds of mindfulness, about our body, about our mind, about our environment, like that. At the same time, we practice loving kindness meditation. When you practice loving kindness meditation, we start with ourselves. You cannot love anybody if you don't love yourself. You don't like others because you don't like yourself. So first feel self-appreciation. We start loving kindness within ourselves, and then we extend towards others, including unpleasant people. That is the most difficult thing. You visualize an unpleasant person and you extend loving kindness towards that. And overall, to life. I think that is what we practice in meditation. Okay, very good. Thank you. Yes. Sure. You don't need it?
You can have it if it makes you more comfortable to speak. But I'm writing a paper for another subject, and the topic of the paper is existence. So I was kind of wondering, in accordance with your beliefs and convictions and ambitions in life, why do you believe that you exist?
Why do I believe I exist?
Yes.
It's an interesting question. Let me think about it. There are two kinds of truths. That is in the Buddha said there are two kinds of truths. One is the conventional truth. The other is the actual truth. In actuality, I don't exist. But conventionally, I do exist. In other words, in the Buddha, anicca, dukkha, anatta, these are the three concepts. Everything is impermanent. That is a basic teaching. Okay? If something is impermanent, you cannot get a permanent happiness from that. That's the other truth. And nothing belongs to I, and nothing can be taken as I or mine. For instance, my body exists, but this is not mine. For instance, in other words, I cannot, if this is mine, I should be able to keep this body in the way I want to. Okay? I'm aging, right? So I should prevent aging. I should keep in the way I want to be strong and healthy all the time, but I cannot. So many things affecting my physical well-being. So I cannot, it is not within my capabilities. But eventually I leave this body, so it's not mine. That is the absolute truth here. But the conventional truth, I exist conventionally. Of course, this is my hand, right? Okay, the Buddha also said, Buddha took the ball for his food and robes. It's my robe, my ball, like that. Okay, but in reality, they are not yours. But don't be confused, because you are living in the conventional world, so that think in a conventional way.
Okay, so I guess to modify maybe, what do you believe your purpose for living is?
My purpose in life is to Atta Sanghita, this is Pali, what the Buddha said. Atta Sanghita, Paratta Sanghita, Ubayatta Sanghita. I must make my life meaningful to myself. I must make my life meaningful to others. I must make my life meaningful to both parties. If I ignore one side, I am lost. Okay? In other words, for the sake of others, if I suffer, that is not the right way. Buddha never accepted self-suffering. During the Buddha's time, some people said that's called self-mortification. You suffer yourself. The more you suffer, the happier you will be. Buddha never said that. Okay? You must consider yourself, but at the same time, you must not ignore others. Others means not only your immediate family, but overall life, right? So that is the purpose of my life, to make my life better for myself and others. Okay, thank you. Okay, wonderful.